And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tickety Boo. I'm back here with Anne and Iona, and it's another card pull episode. We're secretly hoping that the cards may be a bit kinder to us this morning because the last two have been particularly deep subjects. However, Iona's going to shuffle the cards and we'll see where it takes us. So Anne, you can say stop whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Oh, I was anticipating
No, I like a really good shuffle. Okay, stop.
Okay. How do you best receive criticism?
Right, I was going to get my coat. I'm going to leave. Who wants to start with this one then?
I don't best receive criticism at all.
I think that's a fair observation. I think I'm pretty much the same with it as well. I think I'm a lot better. I think it's the way that it's delivered is really important.
Yeah.
What about you?
Gosh. It depends who's sharing the criticism and how they're delivering it. Definitely, I have certainly in the past go on the defensive. So I can become go into sort of defensive mode as opposed to just going, think what you want.
I think
or taking it personally is the other way.
Well, yeah, that's where I was going to go. I think it's that ability, isn't it? We need to be able to separate criticism and judgment.
Yeah.
Because we feel like we're being judged when we're being criticised, don't we? Because, I think you can deliver constructive criticism. And it's the way that we've done it. I think for a lot of us, our early experiences of criticism are probably our benchmark response to criticism today, normally as a child or in the classroom. But I think go on.
Sorry, I thought you were finished. I think where you're at mentally as well, in your own place of the month, or if you've just had children, especially as a female, you're particularly sensitive. And if that criticism comes at the wrong time and you're not really feeling able to cope with it, it can really cut deep.
Yeah, depending on what's going on for you, certainly, because, lack of sleep, lack of overworking, there's so much. If you get hangry, you've not eaten enough.
But do you not think also the context of the criticism, whether it's about your appearance or your work or your family unit or something like that, it depends on which wound or insecurity that can press.
And I've shared this before, that some criticisms that weren't meant as a criticism were actually the beginning of my eating disorder as a teenager. That somebody they weren't actually criticizing me. Someone very innocently turned around to me in school. So I was probably about 12 or 13 and said, I'd rather be fat and happy like you than so-and-so. I wasn't fat. I wasn't. But that was the first time I started thinking, am I? I was perfect. I weighed less than I do now, but it's the puppy fat and that, it wasn't necessarily the thing that triggered it, but you just don't know how somebody's going to take it, and particularly whatever other concerns you're having. And that person was not criticizing me, but the 12-year-old self took it on very differently. So
this indirect criticism where somebody's actions you manage internally to make it about you. I've had that, I've had somebody leave a training course before and I immediately took it as a criticism of the training. It actually wasn't. It was what was going on in their life. But very quickly we can take something and internalize it, as you've just said there, and make it into something. But that's to me, if you're in a place of awareness, that's an opportunity to go, there's something going on with me. I now need to, what is really going on underneath the bonnet?
Yeah, and I think, and also bring this into social media. Now, you and I, Andy, are very much on social media, so we have to be ready for criticisms to come in. That's just the nature of being on socials. But can you imagine being a teen? for children now growing up with it
No.
I
and
say
just
this all the
having
time.
the comparison and then the criticism.
It
Yeah.
must be
And the
awful
trolls.
consuming, because we just had a conversation 5 minutes ago about a certain thing with
Yeah.
me, and that stemmed from something in my younger years.
Yeah.
That still affects me now.
Yeah, 100%. I think, God, when I think back to my childhood and how some of the stuff that went on and bullying and sort of, you'd split into clans, the them and us, if social media had been around at that time, I don't know how I would have coped because you could escape it. You could go home. You didn't see those people and it ended. But obviously with social media, it doesn't end. But do you think with social media, we tend, it's not so much social media criticizing us, and I don't want to turn this into an episode about us, bashing social media. But do you think when we're on social media, we kind of criticize ourselves because we're looking at other people's lives and roles and what they've got and what they're doing.
Comparisonitis.
Yeah. So we're looking at other people's lives, and then we're internally criticizing ourselves.
Yeah,
without even realizing most of the time.
Definitely. Yeah. And I've seen one particular teenager a number of years ago, and we were all away together, and she didn't get enough likes on a post, and she was crying and upset and almost inconsolable. And that's the effect that it's having. And it wasn't anybody not even being mean and criticizing her. So it's those internal dialogues that we're having.
Yeah.
So the question is, criticism, which in my opinion should be constructive and it should be an observation, not a criticism. Do you think it's becoming more of a problem because of our ever-growing need of external validation? So, we want to be noticed, we want to be acknowledged, we need people nowadays seem more obsessed with external validation than ever. And I'm sorry, I need to go back to social media, particularly because of that, because how it looks to the audience that are watching.
I tend to keep myself off of social media. You guys will know that. I wouldn't even be on it if it wasn't for Andy. Claps out there.
I'm getting the blame.
But yeah, that probably has a part to do with it. If I'm being honest, if I'm really sitting down thinking about it just now.
Has that,
want to avoid that criticism.
If we go back to the playground, and you had your friends and you wanted to be accepted and you wanted them to play with you or hang out with you, that's now external in the amount of likes, followers that you have on social media. And if you're not up there in those numbers, if you're not in the cool gang, then internally we kind of go, there must be something wrong with us, and you start this self-criticism.
Start to change yourself to become the person that gets the most likes.
And then that becomes, you're masking, you're hiding who you really are, you're trying to fit in. I mean, that's a whole, we've talked about that before, sort of when you're not being true to yourself. And it's exhausting masking, it's exhausting trying to play a role to fit in. And to be accepted, where really
for very long.
We know with the nature of therapy work, and we know with the nature of our work, that actually it's about self-acceptance. And it's being okay with yourself, with who you are. But that doesn't come until adulthood. It certainly didn't come until adulthood for me.
How lovely to get to a place where you accept yourself, that, to a point that criticism wouldn't even...
I think, well, I was thinking that as you two were talking, that I think when you get to a certain age, one of the advantages that you get is you just care a lot less about the stuff that meant so much back then.
Definitely. Each decade it gets easier.
Oh, totally. You're just like, do you know what? I fitting in and being accepted and, being talked about and all that stuff. And you're just like, I just don't care. But there's no point in pretending. There's big chapters of life where it's not like that. We're social animals and we want to be accepted. Kind of coming back to the criticism thing, there's a guy who keeps showing up on my TikTok, and he's a football coach and he works with young kids, and he's absolutely brilliant. I don't know if you've seen this guy turn up. I can't remember his name, but he's coaching kids and they're playing, and he'll call one of the kids over and he's like, right, I've noticed that when this happens, you tend to shy away. What's going on? Because you are a brilliant football player. And all you need to do in that moment is just don't shrink down, show a bit of confidence, and it's really lifting that person up. Where in my day, the coach would have been, that was rubbish, don't do that again. You can do much better than that. And I think, part of criticism is actually the delivery of it.
Yeah.
You
Not
either
what you
build
say,
them
it's
up
the
or
way
knock
you
them
say
down.
it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you either feed into their belief that they're good enough and they can do it, or you don't. But I also think that then leads us to go, we need to think about the way we speak to ourselves.
Yes.
And because we need to get better at speaking to ourselves and start to think about it. If you were giving that advice to a friend, or what would you say to a friend in that situation? Because our internal dialogue, we spend most of our time, our biggest relationship is with us.
Yeah.
So actually maybe a lot of the self-criticism is more of an us problem.
I think that's something that also gets better as you get older. You stop criticising yourself so much, and
but I actually think self-criticism can be used as a superpower. Where could I have done better here? What is this trying to
But
tell
again, that's
me?
like the delivery. It's
It's the
it's
delivery.
how you're having that conversation.
Rather than you're so useless, you never get it right. I mean, I think with self-criticism in particular, that then tips you into regret, doesn't it? I mean, we've all got regrets in life, opportunities we didn't have, things that didn't go well. And we tend to criticize ourselves for the way that we functioned in that moment and be a bit embarrassed about ourselves. But actually, they were all life's lessons. They were all part of life. But I think some people, and it's normally more about themselves, quite like to remind you of your regrets because it makes them feel better, so they become weaponized. And I think, I've definitely had those people in my networks who go, I want to constantly show you your failings. And it's like, listen, you don't need to tell me. I spend a lot of time going over that and reflecting it. And then you internally moving from that place of berating yourself and not liking yourself to compassion and learning and going, well, I'm not that person I was 6 months, a year ago, 3 years ago. Are you able to do that? Can you look back at past regrets where you've maybe criticized yourself and actually take the learning from it?
Yeah, for me, it's about reflecting what went well. So if it's about a particular thing you didn't do, then, well, what have I been able to do instead? So it's really like, this is why I love positive psychology. So it's not being toxic, but it's finding, okay, well, if I had done that thing, then I wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. But also I was just thinking, like in the last training we delivered, and looking back, and anytime you have an event as well, and for our listeners, they can do this too, is looking at what went well before you start picking it apart. Looking at what went well, and then what can we improve on is a much better way of approaching it in our personal lives, in our work lives, and going, oh my gosh, I totally made an idiot of myself. It was all terrible. Like, start with, okay, what went well, and celebrate that first, and then explore further what could be improved.
That's a muscle you would have to exercise, isn't it? And that's something you would really have to work on.
Yeah.
I think it starts with the awareness as well,
Yes.
knowing that you're even having those critical thoughts of yourself.
Are you the kind of person that reflects on your regrets, or you're able to move on?
Now, having done like a lot of inner work in the past year or so, I'm way better, way kinder to myself. Prior to that, probably I would like hate on myself really bad, criticise myself.
I think I've
not
said
be
it.
kind.
I've said it before on this podcast, and I think it's probably this singular biggest takeaway you take from this episode is mistakes, regrets are the price that we pay for wisdom. And you cannot skip that phase. There is there's no book, there's no fast forwarding, there's no shortcut to that success. The relationship that didn't work, the friend that rejected you, the job that didn't work out, the choice that you made, they are all part of who you are today. And without those lessons, you're not going to be, you don't have those building blocks to move upon.
We spoke before about growth and why we're here, the start of our journey to the end, and it's all about growth, isn't it? And that's a lovely area to really grow in, is self-acceptance and turning that inner critic into an
because
inner coach.
it's not a linear line, is it? You know, if we were drawing it with a pen, it would be like a kid's just been scribbling on paper. It's all over the place, isn't it? And, you know, I think it's that age definitely helps here, because emotional maturity kind of comes in, and you're able to shed off some of those layers of just not giving a frig about some of the stuff that you thought that was really important to you, you know. And if you're not of that age at the moment, the one thing that you can do is start to think about the way that you talk to yourself, and start to think about, if it was a friend that had been through that or was going through that, what would you say to them? How would you like them to talk to you? And if somebody has externally criticised you, don't allow that to dim your light or, you know, break you down. Use it an opportunity to go, could I be better? You know, is there actually anything in there? This could be gold. Or has this person actually got an ulterior motive? Or they meant well, but the execution was poor.
That's quite common, isn't it?
Good, best intentions, but it goes completely the opposite direction.
You just reminded me about something there that happened at the weekend. My daughter had her very first dance show. You guys know this. And on stage, the Armadillo, massive stage, massive crowd. I was just so proud of her. But in between the dances, I was getting text messages from her saying, I did really bad. I've messed this up. The mistakes I've made. And I literally sent back to her, be kind to yourself. And the messages stopped. So I don't know if that helped in any way, her to actually like stop that train of thought. Like, you've been amazing, you're doing really well. But just be kind to yourself.
You're here on this big stage with all these people doing this wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Focus on the parts that you've done really well and enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Well, hopefully there you've managed to interrupt a pattern
there you go.
that might play out in later in life. So there's one for the parenting manual, isn't it? Straight away. In case of this, send that text message.
One of my very few moments.
Anne's parenting app. Child has said, well, I don't think I'm very good. Response 1. Copy and paste. I wished I had a bit of that, though. Yeah.
It's so true. I think that's the best piece of advice we can share with the listeners and ourselves is be kind.
Yeah. And I think on that note, we can be grateful for a half decent card coming out in this episode that's led into chat. Hopefully something in this episode has resonated with you. Share it with people you think that might want to hear it. Drop us a like, drop us a comment. If there's anything you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, drop us an email and we'll certainly drop that episode in. And as always, we look forward to catching up with you in the next episode.
Before we go, if you're going through something right now, please do talk to somebody. A friend, a family member, anyone you trust. And if you need a bit more support, contact your GP or NHS 24 on 111. Or the Samaritans on 116123. They are always at the end of a phone, or alternatively, visit the Peace of Mind website. Links are in the episode description. You are not alone in this. Take care of yourselves. Catch you in the next episode.